Breaking news with Based and Bougie. Guys, if you thought our establishment was against us, wait until you find out that a policeman was actually sacked from his job from arresting a guy who was caught with a knife. Let's get into this, guys. So basically, there was this police officer called Lorne Castle, and he worked as a police officer for around 9 years. He was actually commended twice. One time he was commended was for saving a woman's life during a flood at a river. So he basically put his life on the line. The second time he was commended was for saving a man's life. I can't really find any story on that. But yeah, so he had been doing his job very well because obviously to be commended, goes to show that you are excelling in your job. But what had happened was a 15-year-old was wanted for being a part of a gang attack in a McDonald's. And not only that, but he was also wanted in connection of assaults towards an elderly member of the public. I have a very, very sensitive spot in my heart for babies and elderly. The reason why I do is because they're so precious and they're so helpless, like they're so incapable. The way babies are like incapable of doing things for themselves, that's the same way I see elderly people. So when I hear that someone has attacked an elderly person, in my mind I just think to myself, this is a demon. This is a demon. So the fact that this 15-year-old is in suspicion of attacking an elderly person already goes to show me that this individual is a demon. Now, Lorne Castle doing his job as a police officer, because the last time I checked, the police officer is supposed to protect people by arresting people who are a threat to the public, aka this 15-year-old guy who was involved in gang violence, got into some kind of gang violence in McDonald's and beat up or harmed an elderly man. So he was doing his job and he found this guy and he arrested the guy. And whilst he was arresting the guy, he actually found a knife on the guy. I'm going to insert the clip.
You're under arrest! You're under arrest! Get on the floor! Get down now! Get down the floor! Now! You're under arrest at the moment on suspicion of assault! Assault?
So guys, what happened after this attack? There's no surprise, but all charges were dropped towards this 15-year-old boy. Imagine being wanted and all of a sudden all your charges are just dropped. That's very, very strange. But the most shocking part was that the police officer was actually sacked. He was sacked for this. Let's replay that video one more time and you tell me if that's a sackable offense.
You're under arrest! You're under arrest! Get on the floor! Get down now! Get down the floor! Now! You're under arrest at the moment on suspicion of assault! Assault?
Welcome to Sadiq Khan's London. Welcome to Sadiq Khan's London, where a victimizer, has more power than the person who's actually protecting the victims from the victimizers. He got arrested. Now, if we go into the BBC article, the reason why he got arrested is because, so it says here, a police officer accused of putting his hands on the 15-year-old boy's throat while arresting him has been dismissed for gross misconduct. Let's replay that video again and let's see if his hands were on his throat or if his hands were on the top of his back. You guys tell me.
You're under arrest! Get on the floor! Now! Get down the floor! You're under arrest at the moment on suspicion of assault! Assault?
Like, this is what the police are taught to do when they are trying to restrain people. They have to put their hand or their leg on top of the person's shoulder because that's the only way you can restrain them. You can't restrain them through the leg. You can't restrain them through the arm. You restrain them through the top of the neck. So for them to say he's put his hands on his throat, how can he put his hands on his throat if the guy was lying on his stomach? That makes no sense. So it says the Dorset police said PC Lorne Castle failed to act with They said he failed to act with self-control during the incident. What? Lack of self-control. He's doing his job. What? They're making it seem like he had some kind of ill intent. towards this guy, or he caused him some kind of bodily harm, or he stabbed him and slashed him. No, he did what he was trained to do for 9 years. And obviously, you had years of training prior to the 9 years, which is you have to restrain these people. Yes, sometimes you have to use force. You have to put them against the wall. You have to, put them on the floor. The fact that they're saying feels like things like he failed to act with self-control. Self-control, this is his job. This is his job, especially for a guy who was wanted. I'm not being funny, but when you're in the police force and somebody's wanted, you're expected to make sure that person is arrested. What? You're expected, the person is on the wanted list, meaning if I see them, I have to catch them like a mice. That's insane. And it said the officer admitted misconduct during a hearing at force headquarters in Winruff, but denied gross misconduct. That doesn't make sense. It says the officer admitted misconduct but denied gross misconduct. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, he shouldn't have admitted to anything. He should have admitted to the fact that he was doing his job. During proceedings, he apologized and admitted his behavior was rude, but said he panicked. Yeah, guys, I'm done filming. Thank you so much for your time. I'm done filming, guys. I think I quit YouTube. I'm done with YouTube. I'm finished now. Because what on earth is this country? What? So police are supposed to be kind and use pleases and thank yous with criminals? What is going on in this country? You can't read that and be infuriated by that. So you mean to tell me if somebody was to come into my house and beat up my elderly granddad or grandma or auntie, the police is supposed to come there and say, "Oh, please, thank you. Oh, you have to, please don't do that again." What the, how? Guys, I quit. I quit. I'm so sorry. Like, the way this country is not even trying to stop its own self-destruction. Like, this is purposeful now. This is purposeful. I've just been seeing too many cases where good people have been losing good jobs and have never caused any harm and have actually done their job, which is protecting the public, lose their jobs. For instance, I did an interview with a teacher who got arrested because he got put on the barred list. Sorry, the barred list is like the list of pedophiles, where teachers, who get convicted for pedophilia are put on this list so they can never work with children. This man got put on the same list for not accepting or giving a child's pronouns. She was a she who turned into a he. And he said, "I'm not going to give those pronouns. I'm going to respect you." And they put him on the barred list. Like, what is going on in this country? I feel like post BLM, there's just been this attack on the police. Like, the police is demonized. We see the police as the gangs. And I feel like that's so dangerous because when we attack the police, we attack our own safety. This guy had a knife on him, meaning when they were arrested him, he had a knife. Had he not restrained him, what was that knife going to be used for? Cutting tomatoes and carrots? No, it was going to be used to harm somebody. And now the courts are saying he should have said please and thank you? What on earth? Second of all, this man beat up an elderly person. Do you know how evil you have to be to put up an elderly person? This guy is a criminal. He's a demon. And yet the police should have said, like, we are literally, words can't even explain. It's like we are funding our own demise in this country. We are funding the demise of our safety. We're funding the demise of our children's safety. We are funding the demise of the elderly safety. This is why this country is not safe. So when I see people like Sadiq Khan coming on TV trying to make it seem like this country is so safe, this is why I do what I do, to inform people that no, this country is actually regressing. We're not progressing anywhere. Now, apparently, this police officer actually got sacked a year later after this incident, I believe. I'm going to insert the clip.
I made that split decision with no ill intent. My intention was good, which is why I've maintained my innocence and my dignity throughout it all, because I know my own mindset. Now, the fear that this is going to send through anyone, and even myself, depending what happens, if anything I do where I know my decision-making is good, could be analysed by somebody almost like a sport, armchair critiquing it down the line, sitting there going, well, I wouldn't have done that, you could have done that. and then a year and a half down the line asked to expand fully on it, it's going to make you pause. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think that's something that needs to be looked at, because if you've got officers that maybe might not make the right decisions in those circumstances, then maybe there's something wrong with the recruitment on the way.
Yeah.
Imagine that, guys. Imagine living in the world where you do your job for a year, there's no issue with it, and then someone comes and just decides, I think there was something wrong with that, you're sacked. Like, what world are we living in? Like, this country, it has fallen, and it has fallen so, so badly. We protect the criminals more than we protect the police. We protect the people more than we protect the victims of groomings. We protect the terrorists more than we protect the victims of terrorism. Like, we protect the people who are trying to colonize and invade this country more than we do the actual patriots of this country. We protect people who lie on mainstream media and who are actually pedophiles in the BBC, and yet we don't protect people like Tommy Robinson and the Katie Hopkins and the Dan Wootons who tell the truth. Like, the demise of this country is purposeful, is strategic. And after reading this case, it hit me like this country is literally trying to destroy itself. And I just feel like I would love to be hopeful that things will get better, but I'm not anymore. Now, upon reading this BBC article, I realized that they actually kept the young man's name hidden. As in, they didn't put his name. All we know is that he's 15 years old. This is the behavior I'm talking about when they say they protect the criminals and they protect the bad guys more than they do the good guy. Because this policeman was a good guy. Your job is to be scary. Your job is to be forceful in the name of protecting citizens. And he did exactly that. Because again, this guy was on the wanted list, meaning your job as a police is to make this a priority, locking him up. And yet he is being arrested for doing exactly what he was supposed to do. It's absolutely insane. Another thing I noticed was the way the young 15-year-old guy was shouting.
You're under arrest at the moment on suspicion of assault.
Like, you can literally hear the fear in his voice. You can hear the fear in his voice. So if you know you're fearful, why are you trying to be a bad man? That's what I don't understand. These people that act like, oh, I'm so big, I'm a gangster, I'm a roadman, I'm a bad man, but when you get arrested, you're crying like this. This is why you have to walk with a knife, because you know you can't defend yourself any other way because you're pussy-o. So sorry, you're actually a pussy-o. This country is just is falling, and I would love to be hopeful for it, but when I see things like this, when I see the judicial system and just our establishment constantly attacking the people who are trying to protect this country, I am convinced that this country is purposefully and strategically trying to self-destruct itself. But anyways, guys, if you guys want more videos like this where I actually give you guys real journalism, like, comment, and subscribe.